Let's talk about scoring, slipping, and smoothing. In ceramics, these are known as the three S's, and they are very important because they are how we attach one piece of clay to another. So right here, I have like a little baby pinch pot fish, and I have these eyes that I've pushed on it, and they seem very sturdy. A new person to clay would say, "Oh, these are great. I'm ready for this to be done." They feel like they're going to stay on. But here's the problem. If I put it in the kiln like this, the big oven that cooks the clay, when it gets hot and heats up, the clay shrinks a tiny bit. And these will shrink into separate pieces and they'll pop off. And I have some examples. Here's a fish who's missing one of his eyes. It popped off in the kiln. This fish lost its little flower that was attached. And this ceramic tile had a palm tree and it kept most of its limbs, but these two popped off. And the reason they popped off is because they were not properly attached. So I'm going to show you how to make sure your things don't pop off in the kiln. Okay, so if I want these eyes to stay here, I'm going to remove them and I'm going to try to do all three S's. The first one is scoring. So I make marks in the clay going in one direction and then in another direction. It's called cross hatching when we draw. When we do it on clay, it's called scoring. So think about Velcro on your shoes and how Velcro kind of sticks together. So that's first step, scoring. Second step, slip. Slip is technically clay mixed with water and it makes sort of a muddy paste. If you don't have slip, you could use regular water and you're adding that. It's adding some moisture to help these two bond together. So that's the second S, the slip. And I'm going to push it down into where I want it to go. Now the third S is smooth. And when you smooth, you make it so that you don't see the seam. The seam is where the two pieces join together. So you could use a tool or your finger and you're smoothing out where the seam was. So it all kind of becomes like one piece of clay. Now, if you do all three steps, you are pretty much guaranteed that your stuff will not fall apart. Sometimes though, if you just do two steps really well, it'll be fine. Now, not always. So if you want to be very, very confident your stuff will stay, you want to do all three. If you are just okay with being somewhat confident that it'll stay, you want to do at least two. I'm going to give you a few more examples. So to do a coil pot like this, if you score in between each of these coils and then you smooth the inside completely, you can be quite confident that this will stay together. Here's another one. Now, if you did not want to smooth the inside and you wanted to see coils on the outside and the inside, you could score and slip really well and be pretty confident that this would stay together. But in this situation, scoring these and smoothing the inside is actually stronger than just doing the scoring and the slipping. So it kind of depends on a lot of stuff, like how big the piece is and if things are stacked up. When things are on their side, like this flower was, you have to be even more careful because gravity will help bring it down, right? If things are on top, like in a clay tile situation, they usually don't have to be as strong, but you can't do nothing. You can see that this person didn't do any of the steps. There's no scoring because it's very smooth. There was no slip and they didn't smooth it all in. So that popped off right away. On this eye, if I look close, it looks like they did a little bit of scoring. It's probably hard to see in the camera, but when I see it, I see a couple little lines, but I think they just did a couple little lines and thought, oh, that'll be enough. And they didn't slip and they didn't smooth. Now this eye got stayed on. Not sure if they did that any better or if they just got lucky, but you can see they didn't smooth because there's like that seam there, that line. All right, so scoring, slipping, and smoothing, you want to do all three if you can, or at least two of the three. Right, have fun.